All right, guys, we are live with my friend Matheus Pagani, aka the Matt Pag. He's CEO and founder at Venture Miner. Today, we were supposed to have a check-in meeting, but decided to convert that one into a podcast to discuss some AI, crypto, coding ideas that we both have. Venture Miner is some sort of incubator. They help launch companies. We launched two companies together. One is Cloud GPT. We're selling it right now, cloudgpt.com. Um, it's an auto email replier, so we've built the full infrastructure. And the second one still ongoing, and I'm very bullish about it. It's called bookwritegpt.com. So it's writing books. We'll talk about both of these ideas, but also a bunch of ideas that we entertain. And I sent Matt. Matt always has a bunch of ideas as well. So you can check him out at ventureminder.com. You can check out my podcasting company at podpar.com to if you need help with your podcasting. But without further ado, let us start the jamming. Matt, if you can reintroduce yourself and tell us what you're up to nowadays.
No, that's great, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the idea of doing this podcast. I love the good talk we have been doing. And I'm founder of Venture Miner. We are building in the venture studio model that we can pick ideas and ship them to market in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, sometimes less. And we have innovated in the venture studio model because we have an internal academy where we can train all of those people. We can put them to build stuff. We can hire them inside the project to make the people component relevant while the AI is not replacing everyone yet. So that would be the current model that we have, the studio and the factory giving the backbone, the academy for training people heavily on decentralized AI right now, and ready to build some projects with you, some more projects, right, Charles?
So you and I were talking about events and Narco which is quite ghetto as fuck. I'm looking at their website, but you were quite successful as of late with Luma, organizing your own events in San Francisco and New York, getting clients, potential investors out of that. You've told me about the scalability. I mean, Luma, what seems to be quote unquote magical with it is the deliverability, right? You still need partners to invite these emails, these people to
Yeah.
these events. But once you do, it's like beautiful UX, beautiful like, aesthetics, and people are showing up to jam and for free food. Me, have not been successful with that. I've tried Toronto meetups, which I've canceled as of late, and it just seems to be too much work. Plus, I hate traveling. I told you so. Tell me about like that aspect that has been successful because you also need to buy plane ticket and so forth. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do have expenses, but why is that successful? Why do you keep doing this?
Yeah, so the whole context is that we do a lot of online boot camps, like more than 3,000, reaching 4,000 people went to our online boot camps already. And it is a volume game, we have a lot of people there. But the density of builders that come out of this and build something, start a company, or even get employed out is a rate of less than 1 by 100. So I need to select from the top 1% who is going to be the context enough for me to follow. So it's much more scalable, but also much more diluted. When I do events in person, like the first one we did in Lisbon, where I got this T-shirt last year, and we kept doing all of those, we have less people, 20, 40, 50, 100, like this one we had in San Francisco. And the density is way higher. It's like 1 out of 5, sometimes 1 over 4 of the attendants, they go to build something, they start their companies, they get hired, they start in Web3, they start with AI, you know. So the game is that you spend less attention per person, and then you can have a more select amount of people to participate. And what happened in San Francisco? It just hit me in the face right now because I'm not a specialist in this kind of tools in the outreach like you are, Charles. And I feel like a kid playing with a very powerful toy right now because I was invited to big communities of like 4,000, 5,000 founders, VCs, high tier VCs and all. And I was organizing this bootcamp in the middle of the tech week. It's a very competed week that people attend to a lot of events. They had literally 500 events in 1 week with big firms like A16Z and all. And we had 120 people there. But we wouldn't expect that, but it happened. And then we kept on doing events with the same people. We had a barbecue that was supposed to be a normal barbecue with friends in Stanford. That 40 people showed up because of this list. Huge thanks to the partners there from Global Entrepreneur Hub, the Devil Club that happened at this kind of context too. And we went for our hackathon. It's Global San Francisco, where half of the people were there on the impacted public. And I am in those lists. I can send email to them through Luma. And so long it's an email that they want to receive, it works very well. I'm doing this other event in New York now with a similar strategy. The reception is going very well. The organic reception is going very well. So I don't know if it is only for the Web3 and AI niche, if it is this kind of result, or if I found some kind of outreach goal there. I'm not much of a specialist, but the results are great, what I'm having so far.
Yeah, I think the insight that I got from this, and I've been talking to many successful business owners in the LA and SF area, is that there's a real fucking return on investment of being physically there. And that, yeah, like I've seen that in their business. Sometimes you just wonder like why were they so successful? And just being there seems to have a huge ROI. Like the most talented and wealthiest people seem to be there. So, and yet, like founders are stressed out and need some time to relax and eat and chill, right? So, yeah, I think that's the why. I'm not sure if I could scale like my activities in that part of the world. But yeah, I still have on my bucket list to have a house there and a property. I'm not sure when that will be, but maybe I can start showing up to one of these events. Who knows? And put my hate for traveling aside for a moment.
Well,
I'm
we always have their Acapulco events in Mexico if you want.
Yeah, so I'll show up in Mexico events. Maybe that one. It's a bit odd, this one, but yeah, who knows? Um, I've checked the AI ideas that I've sent you, and funnily enough, they're pretty bad. One was, let me share my screen so
Okay.
that the audience can see. It's interesting. Like, I mean, I don't regret sending these ideas because they always help you like grow neurons, but things we should launch is sales LLM, and then I'm like extremely hard. So maybe not the best idea, right? But that would be like the HubSpot chat, the HubSpot AI sales. I forgot what it's called. Sales Spot. Um,
Breeze.
no, well, I mean, what's HubSpot chatbot? I think it's called Sales Spot or something like that. Anyway, it's so bad I couldn't remember the name, but it's like a chatbot, but only for sales. Then is like, okay, what would this thing magically do? It would launch it would launch the campaigns for you. But what's the difference between that and Charles? The answer is none. Just I mean the scalability of it, right? But yeah, like it's still like a complex technical issue because you need to target the right audience, then you need to write the emails, you need deliverability. So yeah, it's just the front end, I guess, right? With the chatbots, like such a seamless experience. Like, hey, chatbot, go get me 10 clients, 10 agency clients. I'll do AI SEO for them. And then it fetches these actual clients and book meetings, right? There is a company that was attempting to do that. I forgot their name again, which is not super good. Maybe I can go check in my LinkedIn profile because I'm partnered with them. But I think they were the closest to doing that. Anyway, what's your thoughts on the AI sales chatbot thing?
Yeah, I see. Like, I do have a lot of things to sell myself. I'm a technical person, and I just see a lot of opportunities to solve that in the face of a chatbot. The first one would be like you were mentioning about fetching the content of those, fetching the contact of those 10 people through the chatbot. That would be a little challenging. We need to track to crack that. But maybe if we start, for example, with a browser extension, that you chat with the browser extension with your LinkedIn open, like Apollo extension, something like this, and you would ask how to sell for that person, what that person bought, and what are the pain points for that specific person by chatting. That would be your co-pilot, your Jarvis for sales, something like this. Might be a very feasible starting point that would be much easier to develop, and then we build on the harder features for later.
Right. I think they pivoted again, which is not a good sign. Um,
Another pivot.
yeah, they're a YC company, and yeah, like apparent. So I think they stopped. Yeah, they stopped like generating leads, and they went through AI recruitment.
Okay.
So it didn't work. um, yeah, I mean, sales is so hard, but yeah. Anyway, that idea is sort of average. Let's explore the second one. Um, let's see here. So Matt, where are you? There you are. So yeah, the second one was also related with AI. I think it was like to sell lists, which is also pretty bad idea in my opinion. But let's explore that one. We could launch a self-serve contact list marketplace with a Apollo Contact API. So yeah, reuniting all these platforms in one. Promote buying these lists via cold email. Yeah, cold email is hard enough nowadays. We'd have cheaper prices, and yeah. What do you think about launching like a database of emails API from all these providers? The margins would be extremely 10, and then there's legal troubles that I can foresee to that. But what do you think about that one?
Yeah, the tricky part is like the reselling of contracts, because if we need to buy the contracts and give to people, it's going to be quite the same price as like Persona or Clay would give to them anyway, and then we can put a margin
It
on
would be cheaper though, and every time it
because we
would
would
call
give,
on the API,
right?
it would give like a percentage to these companies.
Yeah, but then this is the thing. Uh, if you're selling a database that you already have of contacts, then at some sort of agreement you would need to have that you can redistribute this kind of contacts that you received, right? So unless you collected, I would need to check that better. But unless you collect their approval that you can reshare the contact list, something like this might be tricky, right? Because it's
Right.
not a public
Well, if we
database; it's
don't
a
pay
gated
them,
database.
because if we pay them, I think it's sort of a no-brainer because these platform they sell monthly packages. Um, and we would pay them like a centile percentage of the contact, right?
Yeah,
Every
but
time
at some
someone would
point,
fetch it.
we would have all the contacts that they have. Let's say we are operating this for 2 years, and would have all the contacts, and then we can start reselling all of these contacts without paying them anymore. So that can get tricky.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, that part can get sort of tricky, but I think there's been like jurisprudence and recent law cases slash lawsuits that clearly indicated that, yeah, sort of no one owns that data. Maybe the customer, right, in the B2B space is safer. Um, But yeah, basically, I think, yeah, we could even scrape that. There's a bunch of people doing that already, scraping Apollo data and probably not having a deal with Apollo. And Apollo does that to LinkedIn. So they'd be a bit hypocritic to sue someone for something that they're doing themselves, right?
Yeah,
Anyway, I still think, yeah, so idea. I want to, yeah, tell you about one idea that I think is sort of smart. If you've checked my last newsletter, I've told the full process about it, but it is to have a founder profiles section for podcasts on websites. So basically, what I did here, I created a persona table with a bunch of founders, and I asked it to come up with a title of their founder profile, an article. Let's see which one it
And then
was.
they would Google for their own names and find your article.
Yeah, and then you ask the AI to write the actual article. The result, I mean, it's a huge CSV that's I'm currently doing for 20K more people today. But bottom line, you can bulk post these articles on your website. They can find you on Google, like you said. I'm also cold emailing them to mention that they have a profile, and then they can decide to buy a basic package of $100 if they want it optimized, $500 or $1,000. So, I mean, it's sort of a long shot. It's more complex than it looks, right? But what do you think about that model? And also, I'd have like sponsors sponsor like this section of the website. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's using public data. So, um, like the feasibility of it and then the process, it's out there. I'm more curious on the business side if it's going to work, if people are going to Google their names and find you there, if this is a thing, how many of them are going to buy the bait?
Yeah, that's few, right? Because I think I need to work on the UX. I also need to like SEO the crap out of these articles so that like people can actually find these article. And yeah, that needs to be like a Forbes like website, but that's the insight that I've gotten as of late. Me, I'm pitching like real stuff, real results with cold email, but I feel most people they still want like the fake looking good stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
being on the front of Forbes, and I mean, no one will be that like inorganically, but like the fake article, the fake PR. It's like, oh, this guy's so important, right? So, and that's
Even
why
for such
people
a
come
kind
to
of
my podcast
optimization.
as well. So,
No,
like,
even for SEO, like if we put this in a way that is going to give backlink to documentations or products or something like this, that could be really relevant. Maybe you can do one for free, there your book generate, but then people would pay for having 10 more of those, 100 more of those, because that helps them with searching and optimization ranking.
right. Yeah, it's something they can link in their profile. I mean, it's the same logic as podcasts, right? Like some of them will feature them on their website or in their LinkedIn. Still very few traffic, and this website still like sort of poor in traffic. I was also like an experiment of like me trying to learn SEO or invest some of my time in SEO because I've been totally disregarding SEO, the SEO that is in the last couple 5-10 years. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool idea. Then I launched like podcasters lists. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but and the domain is confusing. It's like with an S here, podcasters list, and yeah, I've just seen that there was low competition on that one. It's just that pretty well no one's visiting that website right now. I need to. I mean, I have some cold email campaigns, but yeah, again, I probably need to get good at SEO, right? So probably have a section mentioning some person's podcast and and yeah, them having like buy podcast guest list or something like that. So yeah, I need to get better at SEO. That's like probably 10% of my time nowadays.
Yeah, as soon as you have like a big list of people involved in this, is going to be organic. Maybe you're going to help people to find the best host for their podcast with this, right?
Yeah, the best guest because they're the host.
No, yeah. If I'm a guest, I want to appear in someone else's podcast. I can find the best one looking for people like me and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. So have some kind of
Until I launch the
podcast database.
MedPeg, until I launch my podcast of the MedPeg, I would be joining all the podcasts, right?
Right. Yeah. I think I mean there's podcast DB out there. Apparently they've been acquired, but yeah, I think what we need to be done is like a podcast database. So either from my Apollo data or my podcast DB data, I would just like give them a shout out on the blog. So I would just like massively import all these podcasts like I did on Persona and mass post the articles under one category, which is like a podcast database and what they're about to get some SEO juice. Um, I think what I've been up to also like is scraping a bunch of websites that have podcasts on their website, and then potentially identifying like when's the latest podcast that they've posted. Because a lot of people, they start a podcast but they stop because it's so inefficient, right? So one of the next campaign that I'll launch will be to actually, yeah, scrape their website or scrape their podcast, see when's the last podcast been posted, and yeah, mention to them like, hey, dude, why did you stop posting podcasts? I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. How many podcasts do you have in your list there?
Well,
Tens
on
of thousands?
Apollo, I probably have like, I don't know, 2K, and then from Podcasters DB probably have like 8K, so like 10K in total. Um, I custom do these lists, right? So they're not like pre-prepared.
Yeah,
So in that case, I would scrape these podcasts, most likely from the Apify scraper, and yeah, then I would fetch their emails from their website and so forth, which is like quite a thorough process.
yeah. I'm thinking here on the size of the market for this, maybe.
Yeah, this one here, Apple Podcast Extractor. Let's talk about yeah, Book Ride GPT. Well, let's talk about Clutch first. Like, what kind of buyer are we looking for that business? Like, who would be a suitable buyer for that one?
Oh, first of all, the tech backbone is solid. Uh, we can integrate that. We can compose with other tools. The hyper personalization is great because the same way that we can send customized emails with the templates that we customize about our companies, later we can do customer support. Later we can do same things that we can do for sales. We can do for other parts, for product description and all. This is there too, and the domain is hot. Well, in any of those uh, possible pets, we could have a buyer that would be interested for those. Not to mention the possibility of bringing that to market and start finding the niches for this.
Right. And I think like even like a big corporate buyer that wants to have their own like auto reply technology and wants to customize it and wants something private could be a good fit. Um, and what about Bookright GPT? Like, tell us about, because I know you added like the feature of
The video.
yeah, the video thing, which is quite interesting. Some from video to book. So what do we have in the pipeline for that one? Where do we want to bring that company in the next couple months?
Yeah. So it's interesting because CloudGPT has three, four, five more times of technical developments there in the backbone, solving the mailbox connection now. But the product is more niche for operations. Book GPT is that simple. We have a very good pipeline for processing your information, but the collection is very simple. Just upload a file, any file. It can be a text, can be a transcript of a YouTube video that we just added this feature. It can be your Twitter post, anything, your X posts, right? So it somehow listens to what you have to say. We have up to 2 million tokens listening window that we can try and guess what would be the best topic, the best style and all. Then we can create a short script in the book, like it's going to cost 2,000 tokens or something like this maximum. And then we go generating that in loop. So this simple mechanism, it's generating books with much better uh, coherence, much better content, much better look at the end than just using like Cloud, just using notebook LMNO, which they do a good job, but they lose track in the middle. Like in the second, third, fourth chapter, they don't remember what they're speaking about, and then they just go rant and babbling. So this kind of structuring, pre-structuring worked very well. It's not like a full agent yet. An agent to build the book as we go would be super cool, but I guess that would be a higher technical step for us to take on. Right now, it is a very good sweet spot. It took us 2 months or so to get to this point, and we are ready to roll the market. the feedbacks are very good. Like I don't know how much in the market side that we would make of money, but people have been using it's that simple, and the books they do look good.
Right. Um, I sent you an example that was quite interesting about the book that I had written. It was like a bunch of CEOs that answered questions, right? And about their challenges as CEOs, their mental resilience aspect, and so forth. So I collected their responses on Google Sheet. I cold emailed a bunch of these people, and I got 16 to respond. And it created this book here, which is quite fascinating in my opinion. It's like 5 a.m. club style. Um, and yeah, it's I think it's good. I think it's a good book. So I'm quite bullish about it. And I succeeded in publishing my first book on Kindle a couple of days ago. So I'll publish that one. And then I'll email all of these guys saying like, hey, the book is there. You can get it if you want. And by the way, these guys, I reach out to them by a cold email, right? So I'll continue doing this approach. I mean, deliverability is not what it was cold email wise the last couple of months. I'm currently fixing that. But yeah, I think I'll get like a bunch of these people to promote the book, which is the genius behind it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so you can use such strategies like to grow your empire. And yeah, the Kindle publishing process, it's dumb. It's simple as well, but there's some part that our agent won't be able to complete, right? I mean, it could technically, but it's like upload your passport, upload your bank account, and all of that, like very private information, right?
yeah. For
So,
that part, it would be better to have a human to fill, but all of the metadata and all it's quite easy.
but even a human, right? Would you send your bank account to a company and your passport?
No, yeah, a self-service. The
This is
person
why
go there
it's
and publish.
fucked, by the way. Kindle
Yeah.
is totally fucked for the record. Like they're idiots. Um, so
but
anyway,
but it can do, and what I found more interested in the book that you generated is because we don't have any kind of prompt to specify the tone, and even though it inferred that it should have this narrative tone by describing people entering the room, presenting to each other, and I found it brilliant. I wouldn't expect that for a dumb AI, but the result is good.
yeah,
The technology is working.
yeah, it's gonna be fun to test it out. So Matt, thanks for showing up for another podcast today. Where can people find out more about you?
Well, we can keep in touch on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You can go for our website, ventureminer.com, ventures, miner, like mining, pickaxe.com. And you can find me as Matheus Pagani in LinkedIn, Twitter. You can find Venture Miner there too. So do reach out, ask about anything. Possible events in Mexico, so Charles doesn't need to travel that much, or in the Bay Area, on East Coast. We meet somewhere there, and we keep this rolling.
Yeah, in Oaxaca. So that was Matthias